template for his social spending package.
How can I say that this is transformative? Because it is.
House Speaker Nancy Pelosi says it gives millions more people access to Obamacare, includes universal pre-K for 3- and 4-year-olds, and climate change initiatives.
Because we'll have $500 billion to save the planet.
Though it's not really a done deal yet. Fox's Jared Halpern is live at the White House.
The $1.75 trillion spending framework is significantly less than the $3.5 trillion plan first proposed.
But this framework includes historic investments in our nation and in our people.
And before leaving for the G20 summit in Italy, President Biden made a morning trip to the Capitol to sell the framework to House Democrats and tell them it can win 50 votes in the Senate.
I think we're going to be in good shape.
But the framework may not be enough for progressives to move forward on a separate $1 trillion bipartisan infrastructure bill that House Speaker Nancy Pelosi wants to have passed as soon as this evening. Lisa.
Thanks, Jared. Facebook, under a lot of scrutiny from lawmakers lately, is now known as Meta instead.
To reflect who we are and what we hope to build, I am proud to announce that starting today, our company is now Meta.
CEO Mark Zuckerberg says their apps and brands won't change, including the Facebook platform and Instagram. The new company name reflects his commitment to developing the new surround yourself technology known as the metaverse. Just getting word that former New York Governor Andrew Cuomo has been charged in one of the sexual misconduct complaints that led to his resignation, a misdemeanor complaint filed in Albany City Court accusing him of forcible touching. He remains under multiple investigations and has denied the allegations. America is listening to Fox News.
Big news from Simply Safe Home Security. Okay. Actually, I think the horns are too much. That's better. Big news. The new wireless outdoor security camera is here. Yes, Simply Safe's award-winning home security just got even better, taking whole home protection to a whole new level. Okay, I'm missing the horns. Simply Safe is celebrating this new camera by offering free shipping for a limited time. Visit simplysafe.com today.
Here's a fact. COVID hospitalizations of young people have tripled since the start of summer. Also a fact, vaccines are highly effective in preventing hospitalizations and deaths, even from the Delta variant. If you've got questions about COVID vaccines, talk to a doctor, because our kids are irreplaceable. We can do this. Find vaccines near you at vaccines.gov. Paid for by the U.S. Department of Health and Human Services.
Major oil companies are denying allegations of disinformation on climate change at a congressional hearing.
House Oversight Committee Chairwoman Carolyn Maloney said big oil companies knew for decades that fossil fuels contributed to climate change but covered it up. Executives at BP, Shell, Exxon, and Chevron all testified, and many of them made statements like the one made by Chevron CEO Michael Worth.
Our scientists and engineers are applying their expertise to help responsibly meet the world's need for energy, while working to find ways to accelerate the transition to a world with fewer emissions.
But Maloney pointed to comments made by Exxon's CEO in the mid-90s that scientific evidence was inconclusive as to whether human activities harmed the climate.
If it weren't for the actions of the big oil companies, we might have taken action to fix this problem decades ago.
Jessica Rosenthal, Fox News.
President Biden is heading to a UN climate summit in Scotland, but he lands first in Rome for a G20 meeting and a visit tomorrow with the Pope.
Biden is the second Catholic president in U.S. history. He is openly devoted and vocally pro-choice, and that has set off a firestorm with some U.S. bishops who can't reconcile this dichotomy. There's a group even calling for him to be denied communion. Pope Francis, for his part, has tried to put the brakes on this movement, saying pastors should be pastors and not politicians. Biden's position is that he can't dictate what his heart says to people who share different faiths or worldviews.
Fox's Amy Kellogg. A consumer alert warning issued in California about potent cannabis edibles being sold online and at unlicensed shops that look like snacks and candy brands popular with children and teens. State Attorney General Rob Bonta says they often contain THC levels many times higher than the legal limit for marijuana edibles. And look so much like the real snack brands, kids might have trouble not realizing what they are. I'm Lisa Brady, Fox News.
Part
Partly cloudy skies for this afternoon. We'll have highs in the mid-50s with a northwest breeze around 10 to 20. Clear and chilly tonight. Could see some patchy fog. Lows near freezing with light winds out of the northwest. And a fantastic Friday with plenty of sunshine. Winds out of the south around 5 to 15 and highs close to 60. A few more clouds on Saturday with highs in the mid-50s and then much cooler as we head into Sunday. Remember, you can always find the full forecast at am1100theflag.com. From the Flag Skywatch Weather Center, I'm Chief Meteorologist Dean Wysocki.
It's big game, James McCarty. Sports Saturday will be live at Murphy's Pub in Moorhead this Saturday, October 30th, and they're opening the doors early at 10 a.m. Their Scrambler Breakfast Pizza will be on special that morning, along with food and drink specials all day while you watch college football. And we will have prizes and gift cards to give away as well. That's Sports Saturday on the road this Saturday, October 30th at Murphy's Pub, 808 30th Avenue South in Moorhead. Come be a part of the food, fun, and football.
One more.
Today is show 19 of the Chris Berg Show, and I feel like a broken record because I'm going to start again to set today by simply saying thank you. Thank you to the Chris Berg Show community, and I've said this before and I will continue to say it, and I need you to know, and I know, like I said before, some of you I don't know, but I want you to know from the bottom of my heart, I love you, and I can say that with total authenticity because you love freedom. The things that this community is doing right now within this community to take a stand for what we talk about as the mission, the theme of the show, for faith and freedom, all I can say from the bottom of my heart to you is thank you. And you're going to understand why I'm saying that. And the difference that you're making by using your voice is absolutely outstanding and astounding. The impact that you're having right now on so many people's lives, because in my hand, which I'm going to share with you, I have a little letter from the Vice President of Communications from Lake Region Healthcare. Take my word for it, you're going to want to hear what they have to say. So I'm going to go through that for you in a moment. By the way, welcome to the Chris Berg Show. Yes, we're coming to you live from the PetroServe USA studio, helping America and you fuel better on your drive home today. I love that tagline. We are live from the PetroServe USA studio, helping America and you fuel better on your drive home today. As always, I want to remind you, as you're driving home, go ahead and stop into your local PetroServe USA store. Of course, grab some gas, fuel up, right? But also grab some goodies. And I always am going to promote the cookies there because they are addicting. They're phenomenal. I said yesterday, I don't know what in the world they do to make the cookies so good there. All I can say is just stop in and buy some at your local PetroServe USA studio. All right, coming up in just a moment after I read this letter from Lake Region Healthcare to you, we actually have live in studio Dr. Jeffry Horak and his wonderful wife, Debbie. They're joining us live because we're going to give you the latest on their situation with the termination. Notice how I'm rhyming right now, folks? The latest on their situation with the termination. Also, if you don't know this, Dr. Horak was on with Dr. Jensen today on Fox and Friends this morning. So if you want to check that out, you can. Also, sounds like he was supposed to be on tomorrow night, but it sounds like tomorrow night he's going to join, meaning Dr. Horak, the one and only Tucker Carlson. So that, as we know, will be a fascinating interview. All right, let's jump in here. And I want to get right to this because this is very, very important information. This is why, as we start the show, I say thank you. I say thank you, and I love you because of your love for freedom. And it's amazing. This is where you can see, folks, because as we've talked about before, this show has really got three pinnacles. One is faith, one is freedom, and one is action. And you have been using your voice. You've been taking action, and I want to share with you how much of a difference that you're making. Okay, so I'm going to read this letter to you. I want you to know it's a little bit long. It's from Lake Region Healthcare, the Vice President of Communications, and I'm only doing the entire thing because it's very, very important that you hear all of it, because at the end, there's this sort of backhanded, possible legal threat that I will get to at the end of it. So here's the subject line: request for correction. Keep this in mind. Request for correction is the subject line of this email that was sent to me last night at 8:24 p.m. and some other people here at Flag Family Media. The Vice President of Communications at Lake Region Healthcare says this: I'm writing to respectfully request a correction to the misinformation we've heard shared by Chris Berg on at least 2 occasions this past week. This is very important. She then goes on to put in this email the 2 different occasions that she's suggesting that I was spreading misinformation. So again, she's saying, hey, to correct the misinformation we heard by Chris Berg on at least 2 different occasions, she said on show 1021, and this is very important, please stay with me here. Then she said on 1026, so October 26th, she's suggesting that there was misinformation in that show. We'll get to that at the end of this, so stay with me because it's very important that you hear it. She goes on to say, and I'm quoting again, in coverage of Dr. Jeffry Horak's parting from Lake Region Medical Group, it's important to distinguish between Lake Region Healthcare and the independent physician-owned and governed Lake Region Medical Group. This statement was issued by Lake Region Healthcare CEO Kent Matson on October 21st. Here's what it says. Lake Region Healthcare is not Dr. Horak's employer. Dr. Horak is part of Lake Region Medical Group, the partnership of providers that LRH, Lake Region Healthcare, contracts with. Dr. Horak was placed by the medical group for services at LRH under our professional services agreement. The LRMG board made the decision about discontinuing Dr. Horak's practice, not LRH. The reasons for any separation are among Dr. Horak and Lake Region Medical Group. Now, the VP of Communication goes on to say, directing your listeners, and please listen closely here, this is the impact that you're making. Directing your listeners to call Kent Matson is a misinformed request and causing significant burden to our operations, not to mention the verbal abuse and threats by callers to our switchboard staff. Now, we've said here from day one, love never fails. Overcome evil with good. So if you're somebody that's out there and you've picked up the phone to share your point of view and there's been an ounce, 1 iota of abuse or a threat, please stop it. When you do that, people's ears just shut down. So if you're going to make these phone calls that we're asking to take some action, and again, this is part of the coaching on my part, I understand that. And I've encouraged you and requested in the past, please call up and lead with love. Be very gracious, be very kind, and you can still share your point of view. And here's the best part. When you lead with love and you show up and you're gracious and you're kind, guess what happens? The person's ears are actually open. And then when the ears are open, the words can go in their ears and actually touch their heart. And that's what we've been talking about on this show is we need to now win the hearts and minds of people if we're going to change the tide this nation is going in. So again, I just want to share with you, if you know anybody that has called up and done some sort of threat or please stop, okay? You can still call up and actually be even more effective if you communicate with love, empathy, and compassion and share your point of view and say, look, I think the decision you made with Dr. Horak's wrong. I don't agree with it. And I would prefer that you do something to obviously make this right, or however you want to frame it. But let's lead with love if you're going to be calling from the Chris Berg Show community, okay? So it says here, threats by callers to our switchboard staff, along with similar emails and social media traffic. The indication that Lake Region Healthcare is responsible for the employment decisions related to Dr. Horak is untrue and has ignited a social media campaign from people outside of our service area and out of state. As it relates to the medical group, they also issued a statement after the demonstration on October 25th. That happened just recently, as you know, in Fergus Falls. I've included Luke Draxton, their representative, on this email. Luke and the medical group asked that this statement also be shared with you and request to clarify and correct the misinformation being broadcast by Chris Berg. Remember 1026. I'm going to come back to that, all right? October 26th. They again are saying, hey, we are now asking to clarify and correct misinformation being broadcast by Chris Berg and to explain how this decision was made by a group of Dr. Horak's peers. Keep in mind, folks, as I'm walking you through this, Dr. Horak is sitting right next to me, and we're going to get a chance to get his reaction to what is being communicated in this letter in this email. So Lake Region Medical Group put out a statement that says on October 20th, so roughly 9 days after Dr. Horak spoke at the school board meeting, on October 20th, the medical group board made a decision to discontinue Dr. Jeff Horak's employment contract after a thorough review process. This is where it gets very interesting. The board is comprised of 9 of Dr. Horak's partners, physicians in specialties ranging from primary to specialty and surgical care, who have been serving our communities for decades and who care deeply about the people we serve together with Lake Region Healthcare. The reasons for Dr. Horak's separation are a confidential matter. To be clear, this was a decision that was made by Dr. Horak's peers who serve on the medical group board, not by Lake Region Healthcare, the community-based hospital where Dr. Horak practiced general surgery. The medical group has a full complement of general surgeons who will ensure that Lake Region Healthcare has surgical coverage in place to provide continued access to high-quality general surgery services for all patient needs. As a medical group, we hold our oath to deliver safe, listen closely here, folks, okay? Please hear this. As a medical group, we hold our oath to deliver safe and evidence-based patient care in highest regard. What did they say the reason was for terminating Dr. Horak? Their views no longer aligned. Now, there could be a myriad of reasons for that based on what he said at the school board meeting, but based on evidence-based patient care in the highest regard, again, there is no conclusive evidence that show that mask mandates actually mitigate or stop the spread of COVID within K through 12 schools. Very important. Thank you in advance for your prompt attention and action to correct the misinformation and refrain from any further misinformation. Now, here's the veiled threat, and I'm quoting here. I would appreciate hearing back from you regarding the corrections to assure our legal team appropriate action has been taken and no further follow-up is needed. So 1, would love to know your point of view on that letter. And 2, I just want to remind you, the opening line is, hey, we are writing to respectfully request a correction to the misinformation we've heard shared by Chris Berg on 2 occasions in the past week. One of them they mentioned was on 10/26, October 26th, okay? I'm going to play for you the clip from 10/26. I'm starting at 6 seconds because the first 6 seconds doesn't really matter to you. But starting at 6 seconds into the segment, listen closely to what I had to say. Not aware, maybe you haven't been around the news lately, but a gentleman by the name of Dr. Jeffry Horak has been terminated at Lake Region Medical Group. Whoa, wait a second there. What did I say again? Let's go back here for a moment just to make sure that we're hearing this correctly. Okay, Lake Region Healthcare, let's make sure that we're hearing this correctly if you're going to send veiled threats. So here's what I said again. They referenced October 26th. Let's go back to October 26th, and here's what Chris Berg on the Chris Berg Show actually said. We haven't been around the news lately, but a gentleman by the name of Dr. Jeffry Horak has been terminated at Lake Region Medical Group. Wow, Lake Region Medical Group. Now, the reason that we actually got into Lake Region Healthcare and Kent Matson on 10/26 is because I was sent a letter from an RN that actually was addressed to Lake Region Healthcare Board of Directors, Mr. Kent Matson. So I was simply, as I did today with this email, reading to you a letter. I would challenge anybody, and we're going to get into this with Dr. Horak, but I would challenge anybody, do yourself a favor. She says Luke Draxton is on this email, right? Go Google Luke Draxton and Fergus Falls, and you tell me what comes up. It's not Lake Region Medical Group, I can tell you that, but you go do that, or use DuckDuckGo for that matter. But my point is, go do some Googles on Lake Region Medical Group, and you tell me what you find. Now, the other thing I want to share with you, because I think this is important, also on October 25th, we had Dr. Horak on the show for a second time, and I want to share with you also what Dr. Horak said. I was asking him again just about the latest news on the termination. Listen closely to what Dr. Horak said on, this is again, October 25th. Can you explain that?
Well, Chris, first of all, I need to clarify something. I do not work for Lake Region Healthcare Corporation, the hospital. I work for an independent medical group called Lake Region Medical Group, and that's where my termination notice came from. As far as I know, I don't believe the hospital employs physicians. It's a contract relationship between the physicians in a group to the hospital. So the hospital really had nothing to do with my termination. The
So, Lake Region Healthcare, if you want to send me veiled threats asking for a correction, then please be correct. Because now I'm going to ask you for a correction when you suggest that on 10/26 there was misinformation. That's simply not true. I was very clear. I just played the clip for you that we said very clearly that Dr. Horak was terminated by Lake Region Medical Group. I will say that again. On October 26th, Dr. Horak was terminated by Lake Region Medical Group. So there you have it, folks. I mean, if you can't see the cancel culture that's happening within Lake Region Medical Group, Lake Region Healthcare, I don't know what to share with you. The fact that they're going to obviously terminate a doctor for standing up about a mask mandate and then send me a cancel culture type veiled threat letter asking for a correction when their information within the email is not even correct. You can't make this stuff up, folks. You can't make it up. Obviously, would love to hear your point of view on the letter. And when we come back, Dr. Horak and his wife, Debbie, are live in studio. We're going to get the latest from them on the situation at hand. They've been going through a media storm. And of course, what's next? Number to call into the show, 701-271-1100. Again, 701-271-1100. You're listening to the Chris Berg Show live from the PetroServe USA studios.
Murphy's in South Moorhead is a great place to celebrate after a game or watch games on Saturday and Sunday. Murphy's is becoming known for their fresh, delicious, made-from-scratch pizzas. You should try their pizza lunch buffet on Fridays. And they have an awesome selection of wing sauces to enjoy when you're watching a game. Plus, ask about their all-day happy hour on NFL Sundays, where they carry every NFL game live on their TVs. Murphy's Pub and Grill in Moorhead, open 3 to midnight Monday through Thursday and open at 11 Friday through Sunday.
'Tis the season for client gifting. This year, the elves at Grateful Craples are ready to take the stress of gifting off your shoulders. Just think, no building boxes, no long post office lines. Simply choose your gift set, send us your spreadsheet, and we'll take it from there. We are currently booking 2021 gifting dates. Call Danny at 532-1630, visit us online at gratefulcrapefuls.com, or stop by our showroom at 300 Cheyenne Street in West Fargo today.
Mike Lindell has done it once again. A MyPillow for $19.98. Are you kidding me? That's right. Mike Lindell has an amazing offer for our listeners on his standard MyPillows. A standard MyPillow, regularly $69.98, is now only $19.98. There's all kinds of deep discounts right now on all MyPillow products, the MyPillow towels, the sheets, the mattress toppers, the slippers, and so much more. Just go to MyPillow.com, click on that radio listener square, and get this deal, $19.98 for Mike's standard MyPillow, or call 800-506-9028. Just use the promo code Scott at MyPillow.com or call 800-506-9028. Made in the USA, comes with a 10-year warranty. You know it's going to last, and a 60-day money-back guarantee. Nothing to lose. Go to MyPillow.com, promo code Scott, or call 800-506-9028 right now. MyPillow.com, promo code Scott, or call 800-506-9028.
My part-time service in the Army National Guard makes it possible for me to be more for the community I call home. I'm a better neighbor because my service has taught me how important it is to be a team player. My training helps me in my classes when I give attention to detail to the task at hand. My service also allows me to be there for my community in ways others can't. I help my hometown recover after nature strikes. My service in the Army National Guard allows me to keep my country and those I care about safe from threats. I also work with a network of professionals that help me succeed. Also, the Army National Guard's education benefits make getting a higher education a reality. Being an Army National Guard soldier makes living and serving in my community more rewarding every day. Learn more about how you too can live and serve part-time close to home by visiting NationalGuard.com.
Sponsored by the North Dakota Army National Guard. Aired by the North Dakota Broadcasters Association at this station.
This is for the second chance. This is for the new romance. Singing for the left in vain, overcame. It's not too late.
Welcome back to the Chris Berg Show. Thanks so much for joining us. Number to call into the show, 701-271-1100, 701-271-1100. If you're just joining us, I just read a request for correction from Lake Region Healthcare. Just so you know, I have reached out to the VP of Communications there asking for, okay, so who's on the board of the Lake Region Medical Group? Also, how do we contact Luke Draxton? He's a gentleman that was mentioned within this request for correction email. I've not heard back from Lake Region Healthcare, so just want to give you some clarity on that. And then joining us now in studio, Dr. Jeffry Horak and his wonderful wife, Debbie. So first and foremost to both of you, thank you so much for taking a stand. I know there's been a media whirlwind, so thank you for what you are doing and sharing. Just want to get an update on how you doing through all this.
I've never experienced anything like this in my life. And I think at this point, before we talk about what's going on, I would like to respond to the letter and to my community. I had never, ever wanted to hurt any of my peers or my community. That is not what this is about. In fact, I'm just now understanding what it's about. And that came from a spark. That spark was my termination, right? And it has gone so much beyond that. And it is not about me. This is not about Lake Region Hospital or the Lake Region Medical Group. You can say there was a grave injustice done. You can say I was a casualty of war, but this is about a war. It's a much bigger picture. Does not include the little hospital in Fergus Falls. Okay. This has now gone national. We have had contact from the United Kingdom. It's about rights. And the people who stood up and who've been angry about this have a reason for it. But it's not that they're angry about my firing. They're angry about the comment from the school board. And this is, again, what the people are angry about. They're angry about the comment from the school board that said, when I stood up for parents' rights, they have the assumption that that statement resulted in my firing. And I have no way to know that. It doesn't matter what the results of my firing were, what caused it. That is not the issue. The issue is now that people's rights are being squelched. All right? The freedom to make their own medical decisions with their healthcare providers may be squelched. It can be carried to the freedom of speech, which is guaranteed to us by the First Amendment. We have a whole different issue here. People are standing up for freedom. This has gone national in 7 days, and it is not about a surgeon or my peers or whatever resulted in that termination. It is not about that. So I would ask to be kind to the people that you're attacking and consider it's not about what happened to me through them. That is a private, corporate, contractual situation, and it will be dealt with separately. Luke Draxton is my friend. His wife babysat for our kids as we grew up in that community. I've taken care of his family. The peers on the medical board are my friends. And we've had a disagreement, and I'm not sure what caused it. And I know at the start of this, everybody said it was because what I said at the board meeting, the school board meeting. And it may be standing up against masks, standing up for parents' rights can be controversial. Obviously it is. That may not be the whole reason that I was fired. It may have nothing to do, and I will never know that, and I'm okay with that. So I'm asking to concentrate on the bigger picture. If you want to write and discuss something, pick a school board member or a council member of your city or the national people who write about this, or talk to Dr. Jensen, who is now having his license reviewed for the 5th time because he stands up against the narrative for COVID, right? There is a war going on, and there's tons of casualties. We are all casualties, and it's fear-based. It's narrative-based, and we've lost our ability to speak. We've given it away somewhere along the line. And I truly think, in the heart of my hearts, what I spoke at that school board, somewhere in all my peers in that hospital, they believe it. All right? But they're scared to speak of it. I spoke out, and it sent a wave through the United States all the way to England. United Kingdom picked this up, people. This is a world event. And I have no idea why God picked me to put me here. But he's leading it. And we need to not look at the poor people. I'm sorry, they're not poor, but at the small little hospital in Fergus Falls. Because if you live in Fergus Falls like I do, they're our friends. Those are our neighbors. We need to covet them and appreciate what they do and deal with them. And I have another plan. If you go listen to what I spoke at the Freedom rally that they had, listen to that. Listen to the empowerment part I put in there. So I'm willing to take calls. You can call in and we can discuss this. But the private matter is still the private matter. And I'm sorry, Chris, I didn't hear anything that you said because I haven't listened to your radio stations before I called in those 2 times. So I don't know what was said ahead of those. And I have no idea what Katie's letter refers to. I know we corrected it. I was contacted by my peers and my friend Kent Matson, and we corrected that and we made that right. And so there may be something else in there that we've missed. I don't know. I haven't looked. I have not had time.
And to be fair, on 1021, because the article in the Fergus Falls Journal referred to it as Lake Region Healthcare, so that's what I did. So I'm not denying that. All I'm saying is then don't come at me and put something in here when you're asking for. And I don't want to make this about me, but I spoke my piece. We're going to take a short break. When we come back, Dr. Horak and his wife, Debbie, are in studio. There's a piece of this letter that I want to ask him about just to get his take. And there's Debbie as well. They've been part of the Fergus Falls community now for nearly 2 decades, 16 years. He's been a surgeon there. So we'll talk about that. And of course, take your phone call, 701-271-1100, 701-271-1100. If you want to call in and ask questions, share your point of view, please do so. And stick around. It's the Chris Berg Show coming to you live from the PetroServe USA studios.
We're looking at clear, partly cloudy skies this evening with clearing as we head after sunset. Temperatures will fall from the 50s into the low 30s overnight under clear skies and light winds. Then plenty of sunshine for your Friday. A really nice day. South winds at 5 to 15 and highs close to 60. Mid-50s on Saturday and much colder weather on Sunday. Remember, you can always find the full forecast at am1100theflag.com. From the Flag Skywatch Weather Center, I'm Chief Meteorologist Dean Wysocki.
You know the NDSU Bison, perennial national college football champions. But do you know the real strength of the herd? Come hear about the motivating force in many Bison players' lives. Discover what changed them and what helped build championship teams at the Harvest Leadership Prayer Breakfast, Saturday, 9 a.m. at the Fargo Ramada Inn. It's a faith story you'll never forget, and you'll be done in time to take in the game. Tickets at Melberg's, Hurley's, Harvest Leadership Prayer Breakfast Facebook page and online at fmvcla.com. Touchdown, Bison!
Oh my gosh, everything hurts.
Does it hurt in the morning?
Yep.
How about the evening?
Yep.
How about on weekends?
Yep.
Weekdays?
Yep.
Up there by your neck?
Yep.
How about your back?
Yep.
Is there ever a time when it doesn't hurt?
No.
Migraines, hips, back. If you're experiencing pain, contact Dr. David Hansen at Renew Medical Clinic, located at the University Medical Center in Fargo, or online at renewmedicalpainclinic.com.
Everything feels better when you have a bottle of North Dakota Sweet Crude Liqueur. Its smooth cinnamon and spice flavor will keep you warm and relaxed on the inside, no matter what's going on in the world around us. Try the new flavor of Sweet Crude Orange. Same smooth finish with a splash of orange. Taste both flavors for yourself at Holly Liquors tomorrow from 4 p.m. to 7 p.m. Free samples of North Dakota Sweet Crude and Sweet Crude Orange tomorrow at Holly Liquors on Jet Fig Boulevard in Holly. Now that's how you finish a day.
It's true. Inventory is low at area car dealerships. At Muscatel Subaru, new inventory is still arriving, so check out the new 2022 Subaru models now. We all know in this area, all-wheel drive Subaru just makes good sense. That's why you see so many four-season Subaru models on the road. Now is a great time to buy, and we all know the higher value of your trade-in. Muscatel Subaru, just off Exit 1 in Moorhead, or online at muscatelsubaru.com.
Hi, it's Scott Hennon from What's on Your Mind with an invite for you to join my wife Maria and I on a trip to New York City this December through the 11th. We've planned an incredible trip for you to pack in all the sights and sounds. You'll absolutely love it. And Christmas time, New York City, pretty special. That's right, we'll see the Radio City Christmas Spectacular featuring the Rockettes, a Broadway show, the story of the Temptations. We'll dine at Carmine's, Trump Tower, some great DC spots. We'll see the 9/11 Memorial and Museum Tour. You'll go on a cruise of Manhattan's iconic skyline and so much more. Can I send you the full itinerary? Love to do it. Send me a text right now, 701-237-1590, 701-237-1590. Travel starts at $31.99 per person. You're going to love it. We've done this many years, and a lot of our listeners have said this was the trip of the lifetime, Scott. So come along, 701-237-1590. Text me right now, and I'll send you the full itinerary for New York City, Christmas time.
Hey, everybody, welcome back. Chris Berg here. I want to talk about putting money into your pocket, saving you thousands of dollars with a single flat fee, thanks to James Patrick Real Estate. If you're looking to sell your house, list your house, as you and I both know, typically you find an agent. There's some sort of, percent commission involved. Here's what's amazing with James Patrick Real Estate right now. You list your house with them, whether you sell your house for $250,000, $500,000, $700,000, no matter what, it's a single flat fee of only $3,500. Let me give you a simple theoretical example. In fact, you can go on their website. They've got this listing fee comparison tool. Go check it out. And what's amazing, prime example right now, I've got on here right now, I'm kind of playing around with the tool. If you were to sell your house for $372,000, because of this flat fee, you're actually going to save over $7,600 with James Patrick Real Estate. So if you need to list your house and put more money in your pocket, check out James Patrick Real Estate. Also, you can go to their website. There's a bunch of great testimonials there. It says, hey, working with Dan was great, super easy and efficient. Would recommend again anytime and a great rate. That's Ridge. Dan and his team is on top of the entire process. They make it super easy to understand. I love this. And we save so much money and time with James Patrick Real Estate, Nick Olderud. So again, go online, put in that old Google thing or DuckDuckGo, James Patrick Real Estate. Honest advice, proven results. And welcome back to the Chris Berg Show. Right now, we need more light, right? It says in Scripture, hey, if you're going to actually light up a candle, you don't put it underneath your bed, right? You're going to put that thing up on top of a hill. You're going to put it on top of a stand to make sure to shine that light. And the beautiful thing about candles that you and I both know, let's say you've got a candle that's lit and you want to go light more candles. You can go light as many candles as you want, and it never impacts the light of your own candle. That's the beauty. That's who you and I need to be. If you're just joining us today live in studio, we're very grateful for their time and what they are doing, obviously, to take a stand for freedom right now in our great nation. Dr. Jeffry Horak and his wonderful wife, Debbie, they are taking your phone call. So again, to both of you, thanks so much for giving us some time today and being here in studio live. We want to jump right to the phones. Again, number to call in if you want, 701-271-1100, 701-271-1100. I want to remind you, if you're driving home from work, be sure and check out your local PetroServe USA store and pick up some gas and some goodies because they're helping America and you fuel better. I love that. All right, let's check out Kevin from Fergus Falls. Welcome to the show, Kevin. What's your point of view, sir?
Thank you, Chris. Thank you, Dr. Horak. Yeah, I live here. I've been in this town my whole life. And you know what? I don't even know what to say. To Dr. Horak, you can get a hold of me anytime. We are in support. I've heard almost all I've heard. And yeah, this is a war. And no, I do try to love my neighbors as myself and everything. But Chris, I thank you so much for putting them back on and getting a hold of this stuff. Yeah, we're in a war.
Yeah,
We're in a spiritual war. We're in a cultural war.
That's exactly what I
Everything
think
is
he's
a war.
trying to say. Exactly. So, Kevin, thank you so much for the call. I appreciate that. We want to keep going to the phones here as they are lining up and give people a chance to visit with Dr. Horak and his wife, Debbie. Number to call in again, 701-271-1100, 701-271-1100. Terry, welcome to the show. What's your point of view, sir?
Thank you. I want to say that despite what Merrick, I've never had a gun I didn't want to confiscate, or American patriots I didn't want to put in jail. Garland might think. Our founding fathers would be proud of you. Keep up the fight. We're behind you 100%, sir.
Thank you very much. Appreciate that. Any comments from either one of you?
I appreciate the fact that the first two callers are supportive. I know there are people out there who are not. I want to read something here that I read about the pain and the anger and the answers that people gave when I asked them why they were mad that I got terminated. And if you listen to these words and you take out the termination part, I think you'll understand where the pain's coming from. First one says, I was mad, and this is again in response to a question I asked people in the community about why they seem to be so mad after I was terminated. I was mad because you went out of your way to speak on behalf of the Fergus Falls children with genuine faith, love, and compassion from an educated point of view. And this is how your employer thanked you for 15 years of great community service. If you take that piece out and go to the next line that they put in, and if this can happen to you, it can happen to any of us. The next person said, you stood up and did what was right when you didn't have to. And the difference of an opinion is not a reason to hate or divide. And then he added in to terminate anyone. But if you take that out, that underlying message of hate and division is there. This next one, and I want to direct this to my peers, because I think this exemplifies what we should be as physicians. And if they're saying this doesn't exist there in Lake Region, and I think it does, I just hope they listen to this part, because this is from your community. This is a patient saying why they're mad. It's because I lost a doctor I could trust to respect my opinion and who gives me the freedom to make my own medical decisions for myself and my family. Now, when I was trained, that was the dogma. There was nothing else. And if the new dogma is different than that, I think we need to look at that seriously. I mean, there's an evolution or maybe a revolt for healthcare and the way people are being treated. But that I thought was shocking. The last one here, which is so perfect for Fergus Falls. I made a joke at the board meeting, the school board meeting. I said, we can speak God in school because we're in Fergus Falls. You can't look anywhere without seeing a church. There's 17 Lutheran churches. All right. So this one just captures the entire process. It says, and finally, you spoke up for God and our rights so that you could live our lives, so that we could live our lives with faith, knowing God will take care of us instead of living in fear. And that fear is what's been pushing us for the last 18 months. It was about the fear and the loss of their ability to speak up. And I'm sorry, if those views are contrary to the views of the Lake Region Medical Group, I'm shocked. So my hope and feeling in all this is, with my peers, is that there's something else I don't know about, and that resulted in my termination. And I'm okay with that, because the community can't believe any of these statements are true about you, because I don't believe that. But I don't go to you as a doctor, to every one of you. So I want you to look at that. I put a charge out to my group to look, to see. and do your research, just like I have to the patients. Do your research. Figure out what both sides of these coins are.
Deb, I want to bring you in. I want to come back to this letter because I think he brings up a very interesting point where was there something else? And that's what I was going to get to in a moment. It says here that, hey, on October 20th, the medical group board made a decision to discontinue Dr. Horak's employment contract after a thorough review process. These people are your friends, your peers. So table that for a minute. I want to bring you in, Deb. You've been very graciously sitting here. I just want to get your take on how are you doing? How has this whole thing been for you? How have you processed this?
It's been crazy. It's been a lot. And I'm the speaker in the family. So to have Jeff out front has been very different for us, hasn't it, honey?
Oh, yeah.
Oh, yeah. But it has been really, I'm blown away how I've never ever quite gotten this, but I'm watching every step of the way, how it is being orchestrated by something so much bigger than we are. And Jeff and I believe it's God, and you might believe it's your maker, or you might believe it's your higher power, whatever. But all along the way, we're seeing that this is not about us. It is when I stood on the podium, it was so cool. My daughter-in-law's mom sent me a text beforehand, and she said, "Hey, God put this on my heart to share with you. It's hard to say this, but stand beside Jeff. Let him, don't take the microphone from him, and just love him and pray for him while he's up there." And I never got a chance to look at that text because that morning just like blew up, and it was like, "Debbie, come here. Debbie, do this. Debbie, do this." And I was even standing with her at that moment. It was Beth. I was standing with Beth that day in the park, and I'm like, I haven't gotten a chance to get to it. And we started reading it, and then somebody's like, "Debbie, go get your husband. We're gonna go blah 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 blah." Right? I was like, wow, okay. And so I'm standing up there beside him during his presentation, and at the end, he says to me, I'm going to turn the microphone over to my wife. Do you have anything to say? I had no words. Now, for Debbie Kaminsky to not have words is like not normal.
First time I ever saw it.
But it truly is how God is working in this and working through us. And it is the craziest thing I've ever seen. What other things, like just connecting Scott Jensen and you at the vaccine conference that we went to down in Alexandria a couple weeks before? You're on.
Am I on? Okay.
Yeah.
I didn't know.
We're both on.
Okay. People of Fergus Falls, people who can hear this radio station, we are blessed that we have the ability to speak through this.
Yeah.
And I want everybody to know that God is working this. There are so many times that I'm like, I'm quitting. I can't do this anymore. And somebody sends me a text of a prayer. And I look up and it's like, okay, we keep going. And do not believe that this has anything to do with taking the hospital down or suing or legal actions. It is not about that. I last week lost my job. And this morning I was on Fox and Friends, and there was a possibility I could be on Tucker Carlson tonight. I made 2 interviews with Newsmax. And it's just crazy. This is not about us. Are we going? She's giving me the
We need to take a short break, but I want to come back because one of the things that I think is really special about this show, Doc and Deb, is that we're about taking action. And you said,
absolutely,
hey, this
100%.
isn't about the Lake Region Healthcare or medical group, and we may have you back and talk about why this Lake Region Medical Group is such a secret organization. I don't know, but I do want to talk about. You said this is a war, and so I want to know from both of you: as you're in the middle of this now, what can people do? Because many people out there that I talk to, they walk up to me like, Chris, I can't believe where this country's going, and I don't know what to do. So think about that. We're going to take a short break, and we come back. We'll be wrapping things up with Dr. Horak and his wonderful wife, Debbie, right here on the Chris Berg Show, live from the PetroServe USA studio.
Hunting season is here. Are you ready? Shields is ready to help you succeed on your next hunting adventure with experts you can trust and gear you'll love. The Shields Hunting Sale event is going on now through October 31st. Save on the latest gear from top brands like Winchester, Beretta, Lacrosse, Vortex, and LEM. It's the Shields Hunting Sale Event. On now, in-store and online at shields.com.
Hello, this is Matt Lehman and Mike Walski with Fargo Roofing and Siding.
We are here to help you with all your commercial and residential roofing, siding, and window needs.
We will approach every job with what we call Fargo values of honesty, integrity, accountability, and strong work ethic. Whether it's insurance-related repairs, remodeling, or new construction projects, our team is here to help.
Premium quality, premium service, Fargo values, Fargo Roofing and Siding.
Book the room now. American by Wyndham Detroit Lakes will book up fast. They always do, so make sure you get your suite. For all the reasons why DL is the destination place, add on to that a 25-person meeting room, free hot tub, indoor pool, laundry facilities, sauna, and free hot continental breakfast, plus overflow truck and trailer parking. Get your suite deal on your suite just in time before they're gone. Call now, 218-847-8795. The American by Wyndham Detroit Lakes, Minnesota.
Lower your home's energy costs with Owens Corning Panel Insulation and get 11% off everything now at Menards. Foamular panel insulation seals buildings from air and moisture and is perfect for foundations, basement walls, or below a new concrete floor. Right now, save 11% on all Owens Corning Panel Insulation. Get 11% off everything now at Menards. Good through October 30th. Savings are mail-in rebate. Some exclusions apply. See store for details.
Save big money at Menards.
I'm Steve Anderson, retired Marine Corps Gunnery Sergeant, North Dakota American Legion Department Commander. I suffer from PTSD. I've contemplated suicide. After serving 20 years, I thought I could handle anything. Well, I was wrong. I was wearing a mask of bravado and stubbornness. If this sounds like you, get help. I did. Dial 211. Contact the Fargo VA today for help. You are not alone in this.
This ad is sponsored by the North Dakota Cares Coalition and aired in cooperation with the North Dakota Broadcasters Association and this station.
Murphy's in South Moorhead is a great place to celebrate after a game or watch games on Saturday and Sunday. Murphy's is becoming known for their fresh, delicious, made-from-scratch pizzas. You should try their pizza lunch buffet on Fridays. And they have an awesome selection of wing sauces to enjoy when you're watching a game. Plus, ask about their all-day happy hour on NFL Sundays, where they carry every NFL game live on their TVs. Murphy's Pub and Grill in Moorhead, open 3 to midnight Monday through Thursday and open at 11 Friday through Sunday.
Welcome back to the Chris Berg Show, coming to you live from the PetroServe USA studio, helping America and you fuel better on the drive home. Wherever you are today, stop into your local PetroServe USA store and grab some goodies. Want to remind you, tomorrow night, remember tomorrow now, every single Friday here, we're doing the feel-good, faith-filled fun Friday here on the show. But at 5 o'clock tomorrow, we also have free food at Flag Family Media. It's free. All you got to do is show up here. We will feed you. And oh, by the way, Miss North Dakota is going to be with us tomorrow as well, Raina Bergstrom. So it's going to be a blast to have her in studio and then hanging out with us afterwards and just having some goodies. Thank you to Casey Joe's Catering for sponsoring that and allow us to feed the wonderful people in our community. So if you're just joining us, with us now live in studio, Dr. Jeffry Horak, as well as his wife, Debbie. And so we want to just wrap things up here. We talk about taking action. By the way, I want everybody to know who's listening. If you want to continue, we're going to continue this conversation past 5 o'clock on our live stream. It's very easy to join the live stream. You just go to facebook.com/Chris Berg Show. Again, facebook.com/Chris Berg Show. So we're going to be starting our Chris Berg Show overtime on the live stream today. So please be sure and do that. Or I guess I'm being told now you can also go to am1100theflag.com. Again, am1100theflag.com. So, Dr. Horak, one of the things that we want to discuss here, as you mentioned, hey, Chris, we're in a war. Everyone says to me, I can feel that, but I don't know what to do. I'm curious from you and from Deb, what would you encourage people to be doing to win this battle?
There are 3 things you need to do. The first you need to become empowered. Empowerment means getting the right information, going to places, searching for answers. And we have the access to the internet. It can give you answers you cannot imagine. And that's what I've been doing. But I'm not looking in the common places. I'm going through DuckDuckGo, a non-censored website. You may end up on BitChute, you may end up on Rumble, but you can search for information, whether it's about healthcare, whether it's about science, whether it's about COVID, whether it's about masks. There are people out there who have the information. And what I'm telling you to do by being empowered is to turn the coin over. All right? Your perception is different if you look at the coin from the back side. You may get information that you do not understand, and you'll have to ask questions. If you're not sure, search it further. Go deeper.
Now, I want to say something to that, Jeff, because that's really important. And somebody said to me, you were probably let go partly because they saw that I was spreading conspiracy theory. And I want to speak against that because that is not what Jeff is talking about. That is not what I was talking about. You all know, every single one of you out there knows people are being silenced. So don't say it's conspiracy theory. In fact, conspiracy theory, that term, as we understand it, was developed by, was it the FBI? To stop people from talking about this stuff. You guys, we got to know what's going on. You all know we're being silenced. You got to know. Go look. I'm not a conspiracy theorist. I listen to it and I go, does that make sense? Have some rationalization. Is that logical? It's not logical that Obama has a big party and nobody wears masks, but then we're putting our kids in masks in school and they have to sit 6 feet apart. Or that we can go to the liquor store or we can go to the grocery store, but our kids are going to sit in school in masks when the recovery rate of this virus is 99.9%. Plus, doctors and studies out there show you there are 7 studies that say children are not spreaders. So what are we doing? There's a whole psychological piece, Chris, you and I can talk about. I would love to touch on that another time. Huge.
I would love that as well. And I appreciate what you're saying. Because, and this is a little bit off target, but I think people will get is the fact that, remember, folks, you and I were psyoped by a high up in the FBI, right? That President Trump was a Russian asset. I mean, folks, you just got to understand what Deb is saying here. Like, please take a step back, think logically, ask some questions, and then do your own research. So, thank you guys to both of you. We're going to be doing an overtime here. So I want to remind you, because there are some questions about this letter I do want to visit with them about. May not be very long, but if you want to join us and continue this conversation, please do so. It's very easy to do. Again, go to facebook.com/Chris Berg Show. It's facebook.com/Chris Berg Show. We're going to continue live there with the doctor and Deb coming up after 58:50 is when the show is out. Also on Saturday, I want to let you know, Saturday morning, there is a great prayer breakfast happening. It's the Harvest Leadership Prayer Breakfast. It's local here. Go check that out. Just Google Harvest Leadership Prayer Breakfast if you want to be a part of that and come join us. And then again, tomorrow is Feel Good, Faith-Filled Fun Friday with Rana Bergstrom. Miss North Dakota is going to be joining us from 4 to 5. And then also we're going to get a chance to have some free food at Flag Family Media from 5 to 6:30. Again, thanks to Casey Joe's Catering. So it's going to be a very, very fun Friday. We're going to have a great conversation with Miss North Dakota and then have some delicious goodies together. Have an outstanding Friday Eve here. And we'll see you back here tomorrow at 4 p.m. on Friday. It's the Chris Berg Show live from the PetroServe USA studio.
Your smartphone? It's a lifeline to the outside world. And these days, a direct line to your bank account.
Yes, as far as the live stream. So thank you, everybody that's sticking around. We very, very much appreciate you staying with us here for the Chris Berg Show overtime, I guess is what we're going to call this now. And Dr. Horak and Deb, thank you so much for sticking around as well and giving us some of your precious time. What I want to jump into, Dr. Horak, with you is that in this letter, it stated on October 20th, so that was 9 days after you spoke at the school board meeting, the medical group board, meeting Lake Region Medical Group, made a decision to discontinue Dr. Jeff Horak's employment contract after a thorough review process. So I want you to comment on that. Then I also want to let our audience know the board is comprised of 9 of Dr. Horak's partners, physicians, and specialties ranging from primary to specialty care. Essentially, these are 9 people that you know very, very well that I'm assuming you would consider friends or at least colleagues. So what do you know about this thorough review process?
I have no personal information about what that process was.
You were on the board, though, before this meeting, so you have an idea of how the board is run, correct?
Yes.
Was there ever a thorough review process when you were on the board?
Those processes occurred in what we called executive session, so there was no documentation or discussion outside of the corporate center. So I can't even speak about them.
So knowing that you were on the board, making a decision like this, is it sort of like a jury where it has to be a 9-0 decision by this board, or could it have gone down 5-4 and they decided to terminate you? Or
I don't remember.
okay,
I don't know. It's been a while.
I'm presuming, being in this community, you're going to see some of these 9 people at different events, places.
Yeah, I would assume so. Absolutely.
Have you seen any of them yet around town?
Not yet. I haven't. Maybe you have, honey.
No.
No, not yet.
That's not true. I've seen a couple of them.
Any communication, conversation?
Yeah, absolutely.
And how do those go?
Amicably. It wasn't bad.
You know, my husband has the biggest heart on the planet, if you haven't noticed. He is very forgiving. He doesn't want to hurt people. And that's probably why he was such an amazing doctor to so many people and why they're so angry, because he took that oath to not harm. And you can see it right now. He doesn't want to hurt anybody. He doesn't want to create division. And honestly, I'm outside of it, but what has happened has created so much division. And it's really unfortunate. We have a right to our freedoms. We have a right in America of free speech to speak truth, to speak what we want. We have been told. I had a guy text me out of the blue today. This is what's been happening on our phones. He's like, I'm a vet. And he said, I am so grateful you guys are standing up for this. He said, it is not right. And, I fought for our country, and I just sent back, we're in another kind of war without bullets, without guns. It is a serious war, and we are losing the country that this man fought for because we've been so complacent and we've been so quiet and we've been so conditioned to shut our mouths. And I was listening to a psychiatrist talking on a video that was amazing, 8 psychiatrists, and he was talking about how this generation of children will probably remain traumatized for the rest of their lives. Like, we'll get them into therapy. We'll be helping them as best we can, but especially the little ones, because they've lost face contact, because they don't see expressions. Their IQ, this guy said, has dropped 20 points. Do you know what that means? That's serious. That's serious. So friends out there, this has caused division, but we need to come together and go, what is going on? We've got to ask that question. And if you're just going home and, going to your house and, going to work in the morning, grabbing your coffee, running through the Starbucks drive-through, going to work, doing your job, doing the mandates, whatever. And then you go back home and you go, have your dinner, watch the TV for a little while and go to bed. And they're like, I'm just gonna wait this out.
One last thing I want to ask you, and then we'll give you guys the last word, is that these are 9 people that I presume you've known for years. Is that a fair assessment on my part?
Not on my part, is absolutely. I am the one of the 3 longest serving people in the one of probably 4 or 5 serving people out of the 72 people.
So 9 people that have known you for years, as Deb just mentioned. Anyone who knows you, you don't want to hurt anybody. So I guess what I'm struggling with is what was the breaking point? Why was this cause for termination from 9 people that know you? I mean, isn't there any grace? You understand what I'm trying to ask you?
I understand what you're trying to ask. And I'll maintain the fact, and this is truth. This is truth. If you know me, I speak truth. I'm a surgeon. I'm called to speak truth in times of trauma. There's definite trauma here. And my truth is, I never expect to know the reason. And that's okay, because it's not about me. It's about a much bigger picture that God is orchestrating. The second thing besides empowering, the second part of empowering was to use your voice. We lost our voice. So once you find out the information, speak. Talk to your healthcare providers. If it's science, look it up, talk about it, and come to a decision. And the third thing is this fear. We have to get past the fear narrative.
Mm-hmm.
All right? Underneath the anger that everybody was speaking about on my termination is fear. And fear can be defeated. It's faith over fear. Look to your maker. Pray to your maker. Decide what he tells you and listen to it and act accordingly. And then don't argue with other people if their decision is different than yours, because it's an individual decision. God gives us each the right to make our decisions and back it up to what works for us. And the last piece I want to say, no matter which kingdom you work in, whoever your God is, if it's science, if it's healthcare, if your freedoms are in line, in each one of those sections, God will win. We are just going through a story. He's won already. It's a part of what we call time to wake up. You wake up, do your research, God will make you complete.
I want to give you both a last word. And so, Deb, I'm going to start with you. Last word from you is?
Sure. I would just say, do what Jeff talked about. And I said it at that board meeting that night. Go look, do your research, ask questions. There are two things that I learned back in college, back in the 80s. Okay. So that's how old I am. That I learned that sells two things. One is sex. It'll sell a car, it'll sell beer, it'll sell, whatever. And the other one is fear. And we have bought into the fear of what's really happening in this world. So I want to encourage you to go do your research. Dr. Sherry Tenpenny is amazing. Go check her out. She's been canceled all over mainstream media. Why? She's a brilliant woman. Go find out what she stands for.
Final word, sir.
I'm not really sure where to go. I've got so many things racing through my mind. It's about unity. It's about coming together. It's about faith over fear, finding your voice, speaking your voice, and looking at your friends and not thinking that they're enemies. I'm reminded of the Sermon on the Mount in Matthew 5, where God talks about an eye for an eye and a tooth for a tooth. And he says, don't be angry. Don't take this anywhere further. Don't go to court. Don't do that. Just talk about it, each of you, and come to an understanding and hold up your freedoms. Maintain your freedom. Maintain your voice. And remember, God will always win.
I asked somebody this question today, so I apologize. This is going to be the last question. If you don't have the right to your own body, what does that make you? If you don't want to say the answer out loud, I understand, because I think we both, but I think that's where we're at right now.
Absolutely.
I mean, they are stripping you of the right to your
Absolutely.
own body, your own bodily decisions. And I've said from a long time now, I am 100% for your DNA, not somebody else's DNA, for your DNA to be pro-choice for your own DNA. So, Doc, I don't think I've asked you this because we haven't had much of a medical conversation, but I do want to ask you now, because this is a question I've asked Dr. Jensen and others, and I can't really get a answer that clarifies this.
It's a closed club. So you have to go through a lot of training to get the answer.
So I want to ask you, and both you can jump in here, but I presume if someone out there took the vaccine or the shot, they did that for a reason. And one of those reasons, I presume, is because they were under the assumption that, hey, this is going to provide protection from this thing called COVID that we were being told about. So knowing that, if someone took the shot, why do they care if someone sitting next to him hasn't?
I think it's a narrative. It's a fear-based narrative.
Absolutely.
And you need to look at that and try to understand it. And there is ways to figure it out. But you have to go look. But you have to make the decision yourself. And then be okay with it and try to convince somebody else and show them your data. I'm not saying don't look at the CDC and the NIH and all those websites, because those are very valuable websites, because that's one side of the coin. You can't make a decision without looking at those and then flipping the coin over.
Well, and actually, just a coattail on that, Jeff, is that if you look at the CDC and you dig a little deeper and a little deeper and a little deeper, you'll find the information.
It is there.
It is there. Go look. People are being injured by these. We know. It's a fact. And it's very tragic. And that's a whole nother discussion, isn't it? But we've got to be aware of what we're putting into our bodies and injecting and what is happening. Go look at the vaccine injury list. And that's not even half of it.
And again, don't go hating on your neighbors and the rest of it, because that only divides division.
Right.
It's a war.
Right.
You can break it down to good versus evil, whatever you want to, but stay with your neighbor. This country was not designed to go without caring for each other. God does not want us to tear it down. He wants it to go back to, in God we trust.
Yes.
And bring back the blessing that he bestowed on this nation to make it as great as it was in the past. As that vet said, I'm sad because of the country I fought for doesn't seem to be going the way I wanted.
Very well said. God bless you both. Thank you for what you're doing. Thanks for taking the stand. Thanks for communicating what you're communicating. And what you just said, all I can think of is 2 Chronicles 7:14. So I think most of you probably know it. If you don't, please read it, because I think it's exactly what Dr. Horak just said there. So thank you so much for staying with us here for this Chris Berg Show Overtime. We obviously are going to be probably doing more of these, so we appreciate you joining us. Please share this video with family and friends to get the good word out about what's happening here in our community and some of the great things you've heard there from Dr. Horak and his wonderful wife, Deb. Be sure and join us tomorrow for our feel-good, faith-filled, fun Friday. And if you happen to be living here locally in our community, come on by at 5 p.m. to the studios. You can see the address here on the graphic on this live stream, thanks to super producer Chris. But Miss North Dakota is going to be here. We've got free food thanks to Casey Joe's Catering. It goes from 5 to 6:30 p.m. and we're calling it Free Food at Flag Family Media. Come be a part of our family. I love you guys. Thanks so much for joining us every single day here. We appreciate all the things that you're doing to preserve freedom in our nation. God bless you. We'll see you back here tomorrow.